I'm looking for logic.
There is none. No. No, this 10 minutes has the least logic in the movie up to this point.
Ever since I saw Batman v Superman in the theater, I hated it. Now, we're going to watch Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Edition, 10 minutes at a time to see how it really is. Welcome to part 4. With me, as always, is my best buddy in the world, Bob. How's it going, Bob?
Hey. Pretty good.
All right,
let's do this.
Let's start. 30 minutes and 10 seconds in. Okay, we've watched the first 30 minutes of this movie. Now we're at LexCorp's lab, and Lex has just finished explaining to the Senator that the rock he has is for planetary security. Yeah, we know it's kryptonite, and I'm dreading continuing this movie, but here it goes. A scientist explains what the sample does. They brought it over to Zod, and if you use the stone, you can cut Zod. They found the rock degrades Kryptonian cells. Now, I want to ask you, Bob, is there any reason that they even think to do this? Because I don't recall that.
Yeah, I don't even get why you would think to do this. Why would you immediately get this rock that seems to put off some kind of radiation and say, let's go see what it does to Zod?
I don't know either. I was just thinking, like, as I'm reading my notes, I'm like, there's no way. I must have missed it, but pretty sure I didn't, because this is the extended version, and it should be in here if it's going to be in here.
Nope, still no explanation. Still have no idea where that leap in logic came from.
All right, so we know that the rock degrades Kryptonian cells, and Lex thinks, hey, we can use this. And then Lex's team finds a hunk of kryptonite elsewhere. Lex wants an import license from the Senator. And the Senator wants to know why. So Lex explains that it's a silver bullet against a Kryptonian. And there's another government dude there, and he says the only other Kryptonian is Superman. And Lex has an answer for this. They're more than just him. There's the metahumans. Now, Lex thinks that metahumans are the basis of our gods and legends. Now, I think that's fine. That's totally fine. You've got, like, superheroes or superhumans running around. Why wouldn't they be legends? So far, this level, I think is all right.
Okay.
All right, so far so good. He explains you don't need to use a silver bullet just because you have one. Okay, so Lex isn't insane. All right, so far so good. All right, we're about to leave LexCorp when that other government dude just turns around and is like, hey, we can help each other. He asks for a wish list from Lex, and Lex grabs some candy, as everyone does. And you know where the scene is going, but bear with me. So Lex wants access to the crashed Kryptonian ship, and the official's like, yeah, that's fine. So we go to the wreckage, we cut to that, and Lex is driving in, he's got papers, and he gets, like, air cleaned, and he goes into the wreckage site. This happens in slow-mo, with some truly hilariously bad guy music. Now, for the sake of time traveling, future me is going to put in the music now, and we're going to come back to us reacting to it. What was that music?
Ridiculous.
It's like a cartoon. Like, I know that we've got comic book source material. I know they've been in cartoons, but... I mean, you're trying to be subtle with the gods and monsters kind of concept, but like, oh yeah, let's make sure that this musical cue tells you that Lex Luthor, is not the good guy.
Really? I never thought that. Ever. My goodness.
Back to the candy. Because Lex wants to complete remains of Zod, and the official's like, no, he scoffs. But then we go to the lab where they've got the body of Zod for Lex. So Lex and Zod are at the lab, and Lex cuts off a fingerprint of Zod because reasons, we'll find that out later. We go back to the candy scene, and he wants the official to suck on the Jolly Rancher. He says it's cherry, and the official has to take this as Lex shoves the candy in the official's mouth. Now, I've heard about the scene before. I hated it the first time I saw it. But I will say it's not so bad here. Now, let me. You can see the skepticism on Bob's face. That Jolly Rancher thing shows how petty this Lex is. However, it doesn't show off any kind of intelligence of Lex. The official just kind of like just asks him, hey, how can we work out a deal? And Lex gets whatever he wants. So at least we know that this Lex, even though he's a bit twitchy and chirpy and whatever else, he's petty, which is not really that seen from Lex in the books other than with Superman. What do you think about that?
I see what you're saying there, and I guess it's a different take on the character than anything we've ever seen before is about the nicest thing I can say about it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm going to try to enter this world as it's being given to us without a lot of comparison. It does have some natural comparisons from the source material. However, in this movie, this is the first Lex, and he's weird, and he's petty. All right, fine. So then it's time for eggs, because Superman is making eggs shirtless, which is very important.
Right, which by the way, the scene, porn for women.
Yeah, dude's jacked.
Him shirtless, making breakfast.
And then there's a lady on TV, because he's watching TV. She's the witness from the government hearing we saw before. She wants to ask Superman which lives count and which don't. Because, like, who does Superman choose to save? Like, I think that's a really fair question. Because I think a lot of us think about that, too. Like, there's a person that's essentially a god, and they choose to save a cat from in a tree instead of, like, taking out a fire. You kind of wonder about it. Now we're looking at newspapers in a madman's room, clearly, because there's papers all over the wall, and one of the headlines reads, Bruce Wayne's a hero, and someone's working with duct tape, as one does, and then this guy, we cut to a different place where he's at. He's at a memorial. He's got a picture of his family, and he stares at this Superman statue, which is also at the memorial. So, again, I want you to check my memory here. I get why there's a memorial for all those who died during the Battle of Metropolis, but why is there a giant Superman statue over it? Because I thought this world doesn't truly trust Superman, but even though, like, thousands of people died, they're like, yeah, let's put a giant statue of him doing this over the memorial. What do you think about that?
My only thought is there is a divide in the political arena where people are either really, really pro-Superman or really, really anti-Superman. And in this battle, the pro won to put the thing there because they think he saved the day. That's all I can think of. It's the only way I could make it make any sense in my mind, and that's reaching.
I'll go with that this memorial is actually on a private piece of land.
Okay.
Even though that doesn't make a lot of sense, but maybe it's like in front of a building that's owned, this lot is owned by LexCorp or whomever, because I don't see how politically this thing could have happened, because you can't get things to change, a street name to change that is trouble, and that's a freaking piece, that's a placard, right? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, put up Superman. But he killed half of those people. But he saved half of those people. Anyway, back to the dude. He looks at Soup's giant statue finger, he grabs his hand, and he starts climbing onto the statue, and this cop really lethargically says, like, get down. So the guy throws, like, a spray paint cap at the cop, and he starts slowly spray painting the statue. All right, whatever. Now we're at the Daily Planet, and Perry says to Kent is doing sports today. Now, I've worked in the media field for a long time, so I've really got to ask this. Does anyone know how media works? Like, is Kent like the new guy? Does he just get the worst assignments? Does he have a beat? What do you mean he does sports today? What is he doing normally? What do you just don't go like, okay, my cybersecurity guy, you're going to do sports today. Why? You're a human interest guy. No, you don't just send your people randomly. You have a sports guy.
Apparently that's how Perry White works.
Well, that explains newspapers. Back to the movie. Heroes Park is being covered on the news. That's the name of the memorial. We get the name of the guy who was spray painting the statue, Wallace Vernon Keefe. Not important for the next couple minutes. What did he spray paint on the Soup statue? False god, right across the chest. How very deep. Yes, statues of false idols. I also went to grade school. How about you, Bob?
Oh, yes. Yes. They're beating us across the head with this symbolism.
Yeah, it's as deep as, like, water that collects in a leaf. Perry tells Jenny a headline. End of love affair with man in the sky, question mark? Wait. Is this about Superman or God? I can't really keep track here. You know, because, like, man in the sky.
Whoa.
Movie, you got to explain this to me. I'm just like...
Whoa, this is heavy.
I don't know what's happening. Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
So after I wrap my head around this thing that's happening, Lois looks concerned. And Jenny says okay, and she leaves sadly. And now Superman is on a ferry to Gotham. I forgot this is the movie that establishes that Gotham and Metropolis are like across a body of water, like a ferry can go across.
Yeah.
What did you think of this geographical change?
It makes no sense whatsoever. There would never be a Superman protecting his city and a Batman protecting his city if they were right next to each other. And you would... Having two cities so incredibly different, separated by just a small body of water, is ridiculous.
Look, I live in New York City. You can take the ferry out to Staten Island. Staten Island is different, but it's not different as Gotham and Metropolis. Yes, we have Manhattan, but Staten Island is not Gotham. It's like Staten Island.
Yeah, ridiculous.
But no, go ahead.
You just gotta take it. Yeah, you just take it.
Sure,
I would have liked him to get it. You could have. How hard would it be? If he really wanted to see this case, he got in a plane or something. Or we saw him fly in there to see this.
You mean like because he's Superman?
Yes, because he could go do that, and then he could change and then go be Clark Kent in Gotham.
Like on the ferry, he doesn't really interact with anybody or anything that shows that he needs to be Clark Kent on the ferry. But anyway, so we get to the city, and it is Gotham, and Supes is looking for that witness who was on TV, and the neighbors say she's gone. Also, Clark should leave before dark, and the people are afraid of someone. Clark wants to know who. The neighbor guy says, quote, "There's a new kind of mean in him. He is angry, and he's hunting." Then he shows Clark a lotto scratcher that he has scratched in a bat symbol on. And he just did this. And then he shows it to Clark. What is this place? Like, if you say Batman, does he show up and beat the hell out of you regardless of who you are?
It's like Candyman in that movie. You say his name enough times, he shows up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it works like that. And also, like, this does nothing for the story. You could easily be like, who are you talking about? Batman?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, speaking of Batman, we're at an underground fight club, and Bruce is there. Now, Bruce sees KG Beast. I called him Sunglasses Guy a long time ago. KG Beast Guy is in the fight, and he loses. And Bruce comes over to the bar with Beast, and they talk a little bit. Both of their phones are on the bar. Bruce talks in Russian. He says that one line is the only thing he knows in Russian. And after Beast leaves, Bruce picks up his phone off the bar, and we see a Microsoft phone. I'll go with it. And the graphic reads on the phone, "Device cloning successful." Okay. As I'm watching this, and I'm writing my notes, I take a second. I don't know if everyone knows that Bruce Wayne is at the event, but you'd think that, right? Like, his face is recognizable. He's not wearing a disguise, no mustache, no sunglasses, no beard, no hood, wearing a suit, looking like Bruce Wayne. Kind of a famous dude. Doesn't everyone know that he's there?
Probably, but I think maybe it is a high-end type event. Like a fight club that for high rollers is what I figured. That didn't bother me so much. I figured it was like an underground thing that rich people do.
Hey,
I don't know.
You know, if you're going to be a really in the media bad guy or rich guy or whatever, I mean, look, watch a James Bond movie or something. Like, get into like a what are those things called? A skybox or something, a two-way glass or something. You don't want your face seen. You're freaking Bruce Wayne. This isn't like the 20s when Batman comes out and there's no phones and photography is really difficult. It's everywhere. So you think you might want to avoid a place that allows cell phones, first of all, because Beast has his and Bruce has his. Not a good thing. Anyway, I'm looking for logic.
There is none. No. This 10 minutes has the least logic in the movie up to this point.
So we're back at the planet. We're 39 minutes and 1 second in, and I'm just dying at this point. Clark is...
Can we just talk about how many times we've already jumped scenes in this 10 minutes?
We'll get to that at the end, because we're almost there.
Okay.
Almost. We're 1 minute away. Clark is explaining Batman, the concept, to Perry at the planet. He calls Batman this bat vigilante, and that the cops are actually helping him. Now, Perry puts up his hand in the air and says, "Crime wave in Gotham. Other breaking news. Water wet." Okay, that was fine. Because if he stops at just crime wave, I'm like, oh, this movie is really dumb. But at least we're establishing there's crime in Gotham. That's fine. And Clark wants to know why the planet's not covering Gotham, and Perry says poor people don't buy papers. Fine. Clark echoes that he heard on the news by what he heard on the news by that witness. What the newspaper covers is important. So I'll say that is important. Perry then says the American conscience is dead. Listen, movie, we get it. It's bleak. The world is bleak. There's no hope. I remember, because that's what Superman's thing is. It's hope. And this is how it is. And of course, Perry's talking about the assassination of all the Kennedys.
Yes. And Martin Luther King. Yeah. But then, Lois comes in.
Lois comes in, and she's walking in with a sandwich bag with a bullet. Literally. That bullet was recovered from the desert firefight. It's not sold anywhere. Lois thinks the U.S. government is supporting the rebels, and Perry wants to know, what's the ask? Lois, what do you want? Lois wants a flight to D.C., and Perry says, Coach, no extra legroom, and we're out. So, these 10 minutes stink.
Please discuss.
Yes.
These 10 minutes really stink.
Yes.
We jump all over the frickin' place. Their leaps in logic are ridiculously huge. The music is pretty much wrong most of the time, which is surprising. The music tends to be very good in these movies, and it's just off. It just, I don't know. Are we starting to go downhill fast?
I can't tell if watching this movie in 10-minute increments is detrimental or helpful to this movie because you're not stuck watching them back to back to back to back, but you do analyze them a bit more. However,
that is true.
I still don't understand why Lex needs a senatorial approval for an import license if he got the original stone in. Does he not have a plane? Does he not know how to smuggle? Why are we doing this? Does he have a lobbyist? Like, he's Lex Luthor. He's got money, right?
Yeah, my thought is the only leap in logic I can make there is the only reason he went to the government and didn't do it illegally was he wanted to let them know he had it so he could make them want it themselves so then he could get those things that he wanted.
So the government basically would import it for him. He can just
import it for him so he can. So he's technically only making them aware of it so he can get something in return. That's the only thing I can think of.
I'll go with it. I mean, it is a scheme of some kind. I'll go with that. It's better than the Superman 78 scheme of Lex Luthor, which is to destroy the West Coast.
Real estate. Yep. Yeah. To create more waterfront.
Yeah, watch that movie. The Lex is really stupid. All right. I mean, I don't know if he's stupid. His plan is stupid.
His plan is yes. It's quite odd.
I mean, to slightly go off here, that Lex Luthor decided that he was going to buy up a lot of like Arizona and other near coast land, then blow up the coast, and then he would own the land on the coast, and he would, I guess,
make a lot of money off of it.
Exorbitant rents. Is that what he's looking for?
Or sell it. You know, he created waterfront property.
Yeah, but if you're going to do that,
yeah,
they're not going to let you keep it.
Well, he owns it. They'd have to buy it from him.
Oh yeah, because there's no eminent domain. So this conversation we're having right now is far too deep for this movie, okay?
Yes.
In these 10 minutes we saw how deep the movie is going to be. We're talking about humanity and gods, and that's great. And then we don't really get very far into this topic, and Lex is still twitchy, and I really want there to be some, like, in-movie reason why he's so twitchy. Like, is he on smartening drugs? Is he on coke? Is he just on something all the time? So he's just always going, right? We don't know.
Is he just on sugar?
Yeah. I mean, he's eating those Jolly Ranchers all day. On our scale of rating this is, I'm going to say 2 out of 5, only because nothing can be as bad as yet another Batman origin clip. But this was pretty bad. Pretty brutal.
Yeah. We're at the low end. I might even go 1.5. This was bad.
This was...
I'm having a tough time finding redeeming qualities in this 10 minutes. The only good thing about watching this 10 minutes is it keeps me sane because I don't have to sit through the rest of it. Just 10 minutes, and then I can put it out of my mind.
Part 5 is coming up. What happens next? I don't remember, because I forgot that these 10 minutes included the Jolly Rancher scene, so it's got to be all better from now, right? It can't be. It just can't be. Clank. I'm going to cut that part out. And that. All right, here we go.